Hey, it's Colleen with Rope and Resellers. I'm here for another weekly update of what I sold on eBay and Amazon merch for the week of April 29th through May 5th, 2019. Okay, so 17 things sold for me this week. I've been really pushing super hard. Another reason why I'm not getting some of these other videos out is that I'm really trying to get rid of some stuff and just be proactive about listing everything that I'm buying at estate sales and the like. Also, I'm trying to get all the swords from my dad's estate listed as efficiently as possible. So I'm just going to show you some of the highlights. I have 10 things that I've picked out that I think are interesting. Here's one. It's a mini disc player. I've showed these before. This one was not in absolutely stellar condition. They had glued something onto the back of it, but look, I got 60 bucks for it anyway. It did come with a tape, which is kind of important. I think these tapes are hard to find and can be expensive, so that kind of added to the bundle as well. I got $59.99. I collected $64.18. I spent $3 on this at a flea market in California, $6.11 in fees, eBay and PayPal, $3.49 to ship it. My total profit was $51.58, and I sold it that same day that I listed it. And here's another one. So this is a different one. It would have been worth more, but I had no power supply, so I had no way to test it. So I kind of had to sell a little bit cheap, but it came with a case and a tape, so I was able to make a nice little bundle anyway and showed that it wasn't corroded or anything on the inside. I forgot to look in the box I know better. I forgot to look in the box to see if there was a power supply. I bet there was. Anyway, I collected $29.99. $33.95 is what I collected. I spent, again, $3 at the flea market, $3.36 in fees, $3.96 in shipping. So my total profit on this was $23.63. I also made that the same day. So even if something isn't if you don't know if something's working, as long as you disclose it and it has value, you can still make money. Here's a set of cards. I was really into buying vintage cards, and now I'm pretty cautious. I don't buy a lot of playing cards anymore. So these sold for $9.99 and I collected $14.05. I spent $1 on these at an estate sale, but my total profit on that was $7, but it took me 2 years to sell it. And the person was delighted, and that's all good, but to sit on something for 2 years, and I paid $1 for this to make $7, I'm really starting to question whether those kinds of deals are worth it. Here's a Stussy Dragon shirt. So here's Stussy is the name of some sort of urban wear popular label. There's my Sisley. And anyway, I saw this at a thrift store, and I only paid $1 for this. So I just went for it. I don't usually buy t-shirts very often, but I know this name, and I looked this up before I left the thrift store. Somebody offered me $30, so I took it. I collected $33.96. Again, I said I spent $1 on it at a thrift store. My total profit $24.61, and it took 2 months to sell. Here is one of my father's swords from his estate. He thought he would put all of the grandkids through their college with these swords, and as you can see, they didn't really gain that much value all in all. Now the gentleman, it says $175, but I actually sold it for $150. He made me an offer, and I took it, and I kind of need to readjust because recently he just got a hold of me and he told me that the blade was bent. He sent me a picture of it bent, which I didn't notice, and I don't really have a picture of it outside of its scabbard, which is the thing that protects it. Something to look for if you're into swords. Make sure that the blade is not curved. So you can't see it here because it's in its scabbard, but inside of this, I guess the actual blade was in an arc. So anyway, he said it would cost him about 50 bucks, and he was willing to split the difference with me. And so it ended up selling for $125, which is, that's still fine. I collected $135.03. I didn't spend anything on it. My total profit $105.71, but it sold the same day. Again, I'm just trying to clear stuff out. That's why I took a best offer. I also took a best offer on this. I was asking $250. Went back and forth with a gentleman and settled on 200, which I was more than happy to get because this is almost exactly the same sword. The only difference is this one was in a little bit better shape and the actual scabbard was still painted. But other than that, it was pretty much the same sword. And this one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the end cap was loose. So I showed pictures of it, and this thing had quite a bit of play in it, which was another reason. So these could go for $275 to $350, somewhere in that range, if this was in better condition. So when someone offered me 200, I was delighted and I took it. I collected 210.03, and so my total profit on that was at 174.69. This also sold in one day. Not that you're going to find swords, but just you could, and there's good money in it if you can get them cheap enough. So here's an Apple mouse. This is a clear one. This doesn't have two buttons. It just has the one button. It's pretty old, but it's a USB wired mouse. Also got this at the flea market in California, the tech flea market. $9.99 is what it sold for with free shipping, and I paid $1. I bought a bunch of mice thinking I wasn't really honestly paying attention to them. I just said $1 a piece, or I pulled them out of the dollar bin, which was great. And so I have other mice that are listed for $12.50 each, and I don't know if I have free shipping on those, but those haven't sold yet. And I was really surprised because this one actually, you can see, let's see, in this picture here, you can see that there's a little bit of a break in the rubber. It doesn't affect the mouse at all and whether it works or not. But so I just was trying to get my money back. So I made $4, even after cost of goods. So I'm not going to complain, and it sold in 4 days. I guess people collect those things. They make a black version of that as well. Here's the JanSport that I showed in the video about what's it worth and bags, backpacks, that kind of thing. The leather bottom bags I say I always sell, and it sold for $41.84. I had stuff 7% off. I collected $47.22. I spent $5 on this because I wanted to have something to show you guys. Normally I wouldn't pay that much. I probably would have paid maybe $3 at the most, but still I made $30.13, and it took 2 months to sell. Here's an old army blanket. It was the tag was faded on it, and there were lots of condition issues in this. It was repaired in multiple places. So I kind of sold it as like a fabric or craft blanket. These can be worth some money. I think if they say U.S. or Navy or one of the branches on them, Army, if they're truly World War II. This one was a World War II blanket. I used to get more money for them even when they were chewed up like this, but there's a lot out there. So I had it on sale, $23.24, and collected $36.04. I didn't spend anything on this because I got this from a neighbor. I had it in my antique booth when I used to have one a few years ago, and it never sold. So anyway, my total profit on this was $21.05, and it only took a week to sell. And the last thing was a pretty big mistake, so I wanted to point that I definitely make my share of mistakes. This sold for $6.50. It's just a grape bottle stopper for wine. I was at a high-end estate sale. I mean, literally these guys had French linen and really fancy flatware, sterling, and the estate sale company was offering stuff relatively, reasonably priced. I wouldn't say it was a bargain, but it seemed reasonable. And I didn't know if this was silver or not because it did look silver to me. And I couldn't find a mark on it, but it's not. It's just silver tone. So anyway, I paid too much. I collected $9.26 on this, and I paid $2 for this. My total profit was $3.09. It took 2 years to sell. So just my advice to you is if you don't see a mark and it's $2, just leave it. It's probably not worth it. Okay, looking at the numbers for the week, $655.52 is what everything sold for. I collected $726.20. I spent $20.75. The biggest items were, I really didn't spend all that much. So that backpack was $5, and those 2 Walkmen were $3 each. So really a pretty good overall. I mean, just over $1.50 about per item, which is really cheap. $94.15 is what everything cost me in eBay and PayPal fees, $96.73 in shipping. So my total profit for the week was $514.57. Now I am hustling this week, and it just shows that if you really, I can't emphasize enough, if you have access to good stuff, you can make good money. And I only had to sell 17 things to make that kind of money. So that's pretty good if you can find high end. And I do have some low dollar things in here. I have plenty of stuff that's sold for under $10. But definitely, I mean, honestly, these two swords and this Sony kind of saved me. Otherwise, my numbers wouldn't be quite so high. Merch, I sold 9 shirts. One day I had 6 sales on t-shirts, and they were all different, so it wasn't, I don't know what happened that day. It was a glitch, and they actually let me sell some stuff, I guess. I don't know. So my profit on there, or my royalties, are $42.58. So my total for my e-commerce was $557.15. So definitely a stellar week. Obviously those swords from my dad's estate's not something you're going to find, and you're also not going to get it for free. So, but if you can find collectibles like that in a niche market, that's what you're looking for. Ultimately, if I could turn those every day, I mean, think of how much money I could make. It would be pretty amazing. There is a lot of work that goes into these. I have to clean them up and oil them and get them all looking kind of normal. They were out on a sun porch in Central Coast, California, and they got a little rusty, some of them. Some of them were okay. He was pretty good about oiling them. Later on in his life, he was not, so some of them got pretty trashed, but I don't care. It's free money, I mean, as far as I'm concerned. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna let you guys go and find good stuff. That estate sale that I went to, I took some video of. It was really, really fun from a picker's point of view. They basically just took boxes and put everything that was in closets and in drawers, and then they also had stuff in boxes in storage, and they just brought everything and put them in rooms and just let us dig. So oftentimes a room where there were like 2 rows, 3 or 4 boxes tall, just filled with stuff. Like one room had sewing, one room had jewelry, one room had office supplies, and one room had clothes. So it was definitely a really fun estate sale. I can't say I found anything super high dollar there because it was kind of not really high end, but there was a lot of stuff there. So I'll try to get that video out. I know I said I was going to try to get the video from the tech flea market out too. So I've got some stuff to do, but like I said, I'm trying to really push my business this week and the next few weeks until I have to shut it off for a potential move. So that's why I'm working really hard to try to get some capital so I can afford to do this crazy thing that my family is going to be doing. So with that, you guys go out, find good stuff, make lots of money. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. It's free. Tell your friends if you don't mind. That would be great. That would help me immensely. If you liked it or disliked it, just any kind of engagement, leave a comment down below. And we'll see you hopefully later on in the week with some haul videos. Thanks for watching.